The Rebel Capitalist Show.
Last time we talked, I think we brought up Venezuelan gals and marijuana farms in Colombia, and we got into really interesting topics. So one thing I'd love to get your opinion on right now is Turkey. I was just hearing on a podcast or CNBC that the currency is down another 14% against the dollar, I'm assuming in the last few days. So do you have any thoughts on Turkey? Could that be a potential opportunity that is in crisis mode right now, where we might be able to buy panic?
As soon as I saw it yesterday, I put it on my list. Okay, do something about Turkey. And I mean, I'm lazy, so I haven't done anything yet. But no, it's the perfect example, perhaps, of buying panic. Buying a disaster. I have learned in my career that if you buy a disaster, you're probably going to make money if you have the staying power. And Turkey, to me, is the perfect example. Now, I need to update myself and do some homework, but it's high on my list of prospects right now. But George, you do have to be careful. Just because there's a disaster, I mean, you could have bought North Korea 40 years ago. It was a disaster 40 years. You'd still be sitting here waiting. So it's more than just buying a disaster. But Turkey is high on my list right now.
Yeah, we got to wait for a catalyst. I guess that's what it's all about.
Well, the catalyst may be the panic. The currency has collapsed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, I don't know how much the stock market is down, the bond market, or anything, because I put it on my list, but I've been doing other things. So no, I need to find out what's going on. Now, maybe they're going to get a new government. If, for instance, they bring in a new government, that might be the catalyst. I just am not current enough. All I can tell you is the bell rang when I saw what happened yesterday. I said, oh, my God, get to work on Turkey. And I haven't done it yet. But it's high on my list.
And how do you usually play something like that, or does it vary? Is it through the currency? Is it bonds, or is it equities, or maybe real estate?
Well, all of the above, but the simplest way, of course, is stocks or bonds or the currency. But in Turkey's case, I would think stocks and bonds would be the easier and more obvious way to do it. Now, I've done nothing yet. I haven't done enough homework yet, except I do. The bell rang. The bell rang loud and clear yesterday. And now I got to get to work. But stocks, bonds, but I mean, there's a stock market in Turkey, a bond market, a currency, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, okay,
you can go to Turkey and buy property. I mean, if you want to, Istanbul is a fabulous city. There's some great places in Turkey.
Yeah, I actually like the whole area. We're going to get into that in just a moment. So I want to see if some bells are ringing for some other places. Last time we talked about somewhere that I spent a lot of time and have done a lot of investing in real estate since 2015. That's Medellin, Colombia. And you mentioned that was one of your favorite cities, and it was right at the tail end of our interview last time, so we didn't have much time to discuss it. But I'd love to get your thoughts, or your more extensive thoughts, detailed thoughts on not only Medellin but Colombia in general, because we talk about it a lot on my channel.
Well, Colombia is a beautiful country, a magnificent country, unlikely to have a war in a world war. I mean, if the next war. Armies don't like to fight in the mountains. That's one reason Switzerland has survived so long. Armies like something nice and smooth and flat where the tanks can just roll. They don't want to go to the Andes. Colombia had a long civil war. It has lots of natural resources, great climate, and I have learned in my history that if you go to a country after a long war or a civil war, chances are you will be successful. There's no energy, there's no capital, there's nothing, no competition, because everybody remembers, oh my God, Colombia, the war, the Civil War, FARC, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. That usually leads to opportunities. It's got great natural resources, great weather, smart people, educated people, and the end of a long civil war. So I am optimistic about Colombia, and marijuana is legal now in many countries. It's becoming legal in more countries. The UN has recommended that marijuana be made legal around the world. Doesn't mean it will, but it's happening monthly. More countries are making marijuana legal. So at this point, I don't see many negatives about Colombia. And Medellin is a gorgeous, it sounds like you've been there, a gorgeous city.
Yeah.
Several million people there. I mean, the fabulous night, fabulous every kind of life. So if you ask me, Medellin is one of the great cities of the future. Medellin, maybe Vancouver, maybe Vladivostok.
Yeah, we talked about that. I actually, what's funny is I went out with a Russian gal the other night, and she was from St. Petersburg, and I talked to her about our interview, and I asked her if she'd ever been to Vladivostok, and she said that she hadn't, and that she didn't know much about it. I was hoping to get some insider information I could share with you.
Well, very few people have been to Vladivostok, including very few Russians have been to Vladivostok. Get out a map, you'll see why. But It's a great city, and it's a great port. I mean, it was the Russian port for decades. And if you look at the location, it's right there where Japan and China and Korea and Russia come together. No, Putin is spending staggering amounts of money. So maybe you should take her to Vladivostok.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. So let's talk about Colombia's neighbor, Venezuela, and that's just the poster child for crisis and panic and everything in between. But maybe there's not a catalyst there. I think the crazy guy is still in charge, Maduro or whatever. And so what are your thoughts on Venezuela?
Well, I went to Venezuela, reading the same newspapers you read and internet. I went, and it is a disaster, but unfortunately, I'm a citizen of the land of the free, and we're not so free in the land of the free. There are sanctions against Americans doing things in Venezuela. I would love to, but George, I don't want to be rich and in jail. I'd rather be poor and out of jail. So I'm not doing anything in Venezuela except watching. I hope someday sanity returns and I can buy Venezuela.
How about Myanmar, Jim? That's one that you've been bullish on for a long time. And I just read on the internet the other day that they're going through some more problems. So could that be a buying opportunity?
Yeah, but as soon as I saw all that, I was ready to jump on the plane. The problem is, first of all, you can't fly there now because of the chaos. Myanmar finally has made it legal for foreigners to buy shares.
Okay.
And what I wanted to do, but like many governments, it's legal for foreigners to buy shares, but you have to have a Myanmar bank account. And the only way you can open a Myanmar bank account is to go there, but you can't go. You can't go there now because of the chaos. No, I was ready to jump on the next plane and go open a bank account. I said, can I go to the embassy? Can I do to the blah, blah, blah? So if you can open an investment account, you can. It's legal, but you also have to have a Myanmar bank account, and you have to be there. You have to be there to open both. Okay. I mean, George, I've been around investing bureaucracies a long time, and they come up with some of the craziest damn things that you can imagine. Yeah, I want to invest in Myanmar. Tell me how.
Yeah, I figured you would have thought that with this recent chaos or riots or coup or whatever they're going through, it could be an opportunity, because I know your long-term view on that is extremely bullish. Okay, so next question would be Poland. This is something that my good buddy Chris McIntosh, who's a hedge fund manager, and we talk a lot in this investment forum I have called Rebel Capitalist Pro, and he's very bullish on Poland. So I wanted to get your thoughts on Poland and kind of the Eastern Europe.
Well, he's probably right. I just am not up to date at the moment. As I think it through, now you mention it, he is probably exactly right. Most of Central Europe, Eastern Europe, as you call it, is probably a good place to invest. I mean, Romania right now, I'd like to invest. I mean, in fact, I'd like to invest in Romania. There are many disasters in Central Europe, and Poland I'm just not up to date on, so I better do some homework. I don't have an account in Poland. It doesn't mean I couldn't. I can probably buy through some of my international banks. No, I just, yeah, when you said the word, it rang a bell, but I have to do a lot more homework. But all of Central Europe has got to be interesting now.
Yeah.
Including Ukraine. Ukraine's been a disaster for decades. I haven't invested yet, but it's been a great agricultural nation for centuries. It's probably a great time to do something.
Oh, so you like Ukraine because number one, it's super cheap. It's been off the radar. It's been hated, but you're bullish agriculture. So that might be a way to get into agriculture cheap.
Both of the above, yes. I mean, I first went to Ukraine decades ago, and I said, God, this will never work. I went to Russia at the same time and other countries. It's been one of the worst managed countries in the world for decades. But at times in history, it's been one of the great gems of the world. For the past few decades, it's been horrible. It might be the time.